Alright, so on example 4, we're just adding and subtracting fractions still, right? So let's work on our least common denominator, which means we need to factor those denominators. So how can I factor x to the 4th minus 16? Difference of squares. Alright, so what's the square root of x to the 4th? And what's the square root of 16? No, 4. Don't try to take a square root again. You can't do that until you have your parentheses set up, and then if you can do another one, you can do it then. Alright, so a plus b times a minus b. Now check. Can you do anything to that first parenthesis? No. What about the second one? Yes, what? Difference of squares. So I'm going to bring this first parenthesis down because remember it's part of my answer. And then I'm going to work on the second one. So what is the square root of x squared? And the square root of 4?
2.
So my difference of square formula tells me it's x plus 2, x minus 2. Now, you already told me the first parenthesis we can't do anything to. Can I do anything to the x plus 2?
No.
What about the x minus 2?
No.
Alright, so that one's completely factored. So look at your second fraction. Can you do anything there? To the denominator? What can we do? Difference of squares. So what's the square root of x squared? Square root of 4. So my formula tells me it's a plus b times a minus b. Whoops, I wrote the a. Can I do anything to the x plus 2? No? What about the x minus 2? Alright, so I'm done factoring that one. Look at the third fraction. Has an x minus 2 on bottom. Can you do anything to it? Whew, thank goodness, right? Alright, so I'm going to rewrite this. So I have 4x squared over x squared plus 4 times x plus 2 times x minus 2 plus the second fraction is x over, it was x plus 2, x minus 2. And then it's minus 1 over x minus 2. So, let's work on that least common denominator now. What am I going to have to multiply this first fraction by to get rid of it? Good, the x squared plus 4. Anything else? Good, x plus 2 and x minus 2. What do I need to multiply that second fraction by to get rid of it? Alright, x plus 2, x minus 2. Do I already have an x plus 2 written down? Do I already have an x minus 2 written down? So I don't have to write anything else. What about that third fraction? And do you already have an x minus 2 written down? Alright, so that up there is my least common denominator and what I'm going to multiply by. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to erase my work that I have down there so I have room to actually write it so I'm not at the very bottom.
I cannot tie this.
Alright. So I'm going to write my least common denominator. Ooh, that's really big.
You know what's the most intellectual thing I've ever heard before? Can't never could do nothing.
Alright, so times the x minus 2. Alright, so let's set this up. Alright, so for the first fraction, we need to get rid of the denominator, so we need to get rid of an x squared plus 4, an x plus 2, and an x minus 2. What's left outside? Nothing outside, so we just had that 4x squared from inside, right? And then it's a plus. The second fraction, we got to get rid of the x plus 2 and the x minus 2. So outside I have an x squared plus 4 times the x inside. Let's put the x first because it's a single term. Minus the last fraction, I need to get rid of an x minus 2. So I'm left with an x squared plus 4 and an x plus 2 outside times the 1 inside. So let's put that 1 first since it's by itself. And then x squared plus 4 times x, what was it, plus 2? Alright, so what are we going to do next? We're going to do some distributing. So I still have that 4x squared, so I'm just going to bring it over. I'm going to distribute a positive x to the x squared and the 4, which is going to give me x cubed plus 4x. And then, what's happening right here, though? We got 3 things being multiplied, don't we? So I'm going to come over to the side over here again and make a little work area. Let's look at what we need to do. So we got negative 1 times x squared plus 4 times x plus 2. Now, when you have 3 things being multiplied, remember multiply 2 of them, get an answer, and multiply that times the third one. It doesn't matter which 2 you multiply first. Typically, some reason y'all like to do the parentheses first. So let's go ahead, let's do that, and let's bring the negative 1 down. And let's distribute to multiply, or you can do FOIL. So x squared times x is, good, x cubed. X squared times 2 is, good. 4 times x is, and 4 times 2 is. Alright, can you combine anything inside the parentheses there? No, a lot of times you do FOIL, you can, or when you distribute, but not this time. So now what am I do with that negative 1 on the outside? Distribute it to the x cubed, the 2x squared, the 4x, and the 8. So we get negative x cubed minus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8. Alright, so what we found there, then what I have that blue squiggle line above, comes out to be minus x cubed minus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8 all over that least common denominator. It is a long problem. I'm sorry. Well, a lot of things in life we don't like. Have to put on our big kid pants and deal with it. All right. So let's combine like terms. We're almost done, guys. So start with your largest exponent. So I have x cubed minus x cubed, which is what? It cancels. Then I have 4x squared minus 2x squared, which is 2x squared. All right, we have 4x minus 4x, cancels. And then we just have the minus 8, right? All over that common denominator.
No, you don't just have a minus 8.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, I didn't see your 2x squared.
Okay. All right, can I do anything else to my numerator?
You can take out a 2.
Take out a 2. So write it down and then divide it out.
And then you can do difference of squares to that. So you have 2 times x.
All right, so then I heard you say that we have a difference of squares.
Wait, no.
So what's the square root of x squared? And the square root of 4? All right, so keep your 2, and then you know different squares tells you x plus 2, x minus 2.
That's all you can do. Problem's over. I'm just kidding.
All right.
I accidentally wrote 4. That's why.
All right, so can I do anything else at the top?
No.
No, so now we're allowed to start canceling. Does anything cancel?
Yes.
X plus 2 and x minus 2. And so what are we left with? Does anything work out there?
You could, but it just goes back to the same. Yeah. So it's, doesn't it?
Nope, there's nothing else we can do there. So we're done.
I'm confused. I don't agree.